So now your directions are going to tell you, now that you have all your seam allowances flat, your directions tell you to baste. So again, we're leaving the settings the same. If this is a different class for you, make sure to change the length back to 5. Okay, a little tip too, if you want to go back to our original settings, just press 1. Everything will reset. So if I want to go to a basting stitch as long as possible so it's easy to remove, and then no back stitch. And then your directions are telling you to baste 1.5 inches, okay, from your needle. So you can either use your hem gauge to measure from the needle outward and move your tape, or if you look really closely on your machine, it says 1 5/8. That's just a smidge over 1, because 1 4/8 would be 1.5. So really this line right here that says 40, that's going to be your 1.5 inch line. So you can measure it out, or you can just trust that the 40 is fine, and you can move your tape right there. It's good to, if this is back on your machine, take this out, and you just pull that out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go in a big circle, and you're just going to baste. So you're going to line up your edge with the tape. It's 1.5 inches away from the needle. You want to keep it nice and straight so that when you do your casing, it's even. Trust me, that will make your life a lot easier. So we're going to keep it along the edge of the tape. And no need to pin or anything. You're just going to go all the way around, no back stitch. Watching the tape. Probably move this out of the way so I don't sew them into my pants. This thing will go a little slower so it doesn't bunch up like that. I'm gonna go a little faster. So again, going all the way around. So you just kind of pull through the circle. Again, I'm laying it flat closer to the tape just so I know that it's staying at the 1.5 inches all the way around. We're almost there. Just moving those. I still want to know where my front and my backs are, so when I put my tag in, I can tell which way to put my pants on. And then when we get back to the beginning, should be really close to that line. Perfect. Lift it up, no back stitch. Again, you can leave your tails long because you're going to remove these at the end. But as you can see, lots of tails going on, but we'll clean that up later. You can see that that line all the way around that top edge is, if we measured it, should be 1.5 inches from that top edge. Okay. The next thing you're going to do, you have 2 choices. I personally like to take this to the iron and use my hem gauge and iron it under 1/4 inch, because when you're working with flannel, it really listens. The other thing you could do, some people prefer this way, is you can baste the top edge under 1/4 inch. A little trick, if you fold it, it fits right between the 2 legs right there. That is 1/4 inch. So if you just kind of baste it and you're turning it like so, you know, you want to make sure it's even. You don't want to fold it too big or too small. You want to keep it just like that. But by doing this step, either pressing it at the iron or basting it versus just folding it under and sewing, you're going to take this from being a raw edge to a finished edge, and we'll pin it, and then you sew here, and that will make the casing look really, really nice. So we're going to take it over to the iron, and I'm going to show you how to press this under. So we'll go right over here. Just keep it going. Oh, I dropped my ruler on the floor. Pick it up. Bring your hem gauge with you. When you are ironing this under, if you look really closely here, it's so tiny. It's the second line from the bottom, okay? That's 1/4 inch or 2/8 if you count the little lines. So what I'm gonna do, make sure this wasn't sleeping too long. Sometimes it's really smart, cools down. And then first I'm just gonna eyeball it. This is heat resistant, so you can literally iron like right on top of it if you want to, okay? So you start checking 1/4 inch. I'm just gonna iron like a little bit of it, just so you can see how this is really gonna keep it down. You can even hold it there for a sec. And then you could just keep turning it again. Don't get too big, keep it nice and consistent. Checking with your little hem gauge that it's even. And then we just smooth her on down. You're gonna do this all the way around. She needs to get a little hotter. It was actually sleeping. Because really with the flannel, it's gonna keep it down nice and secure. So yeah, woke her back up. You can also, sometimes I like to do it over here, where this way you can go like around the circle and not be pressing the other side. Move your iron down. And we'll just start with, you can start anywhere, it doesn't really matter. Once you get kind of like good at this, you almost can guess a little bit, and then just bring your seam gauge in to check every once in a while that you're staying nice and even. You can tell now that it's keeping it nice and flat. And just take your time with this. Just want that edge under. Something to keep in mind when you do this part, mine is putting the elastic in. This is really how you hem your pants too. I'm just gonna shift it a little bit. Again, check in with your little guy, hem gauge, seam gauge. You're gonna iron that all the way around, and then I'll show you the next step.